Hey friends, welcome back to the StudyTube project. My name is Ali, I'm a doctor working in Cambridge and it's absolutely lovely to meet you across the camera screen. Today I'm going to be teaching you something entirely non-useful, but it's kind of cool, and it's how to make any small object disappear. So if I take this balled up piece of aluminium foil, watch, I can just blow and it vanishes. Look at that. That's what we're going to be learning in this video straight after this intro. That's a pretty good intro, wasn't it? Anyway, today we're going to be learning the French drop, how to vanish a small object, which is one of the basic fundamentals of close-up magic that I've been doing since I was in year 12. So I don't know, 7 or 8 years at this point. That's quite a long time. But the basic principle is we can take something like a magic wand, and the idea is that we take the object, 1, 2, 3, and it vanishes. And that's basically how the thing works. And the secret is that it's really in my other hand, as you might have guessed. I'm going to be splitting this up into sort of two parts. Firstly, there's the mechanics of the French drop and how it actually works. And then there's the psychology of the French drop and how do we make it work really well. Because there are different ways to do this and you can sort of botch them a bit. And then once we've learned the French drop, we can progress to taking, for example, a ball like this, making that vanish as well. In fact, we can do it with coins too. I'll show you with a coin in a moment. Let me find a coin. Here is a euro coin, so we can take the coin, we can make that vanish. And if I show you in the overhead setup, it sort of looks something like this. Yeah, you know, we can make a coin disappear, or any small object really. So, two components of the French drop. Firstly, why should you learn this? Well, it's kind of cool, this time of isolation. It's also, I think, a good intro to close-up magic. So if, while you're sitting at home doing nothing, you actually want to learn how to be a magician, it's a really fun thing to do. There's a whole community of people behind it. I was at a magic convention a couple of weeks ago. It's just really fun, and the sort of people that do it are usually a little bit nerdy, but if you're watching StudyTube project, you're probably a little bit nerdy. That's fine, that's to be celebrated. It's just a cool thing. And when I was doing close-up magic at university, I used to perform at May balls and parties and stuff, and I used to get paid to go around parties and show people magic tricks. It was also a little bit awkward because it always feels really awkward kind of going up to a group of people who are very well dressed and be like, hey guys, my name's Ali, I'm the magician. Do you want to see a magic trick? But usually it went down really well. So yeah, you can kind of do stuff like that. And that was one of my kind of resolutions when I went to university, that I wanted to sort of get out of my shell a little bit more, which is why I started doing magic. Anyway, French drop. Let's start with the mechanics and then we'll talk about the psychology. So the mechanics, and I will show you on the overhead rig how this works. Basically, what we want to be doing is, like with most magic tricks, or rather like with most vanishing-y things, the idea is that you want to put an object into your other hand, but you actually want to keep it in the same hand and sort of just make it look like you've put it into your hands. Basically, the idea is we want to grasp the object, or whatever the thing is. We can do it with a little ball of aluminium. I think this is sort of the easiest size thing to work with initially. We grasp it between our thumb and our middle finger of one hand. Feel free to use whatever hand you like. I prefer using that in my right hand and grabbing it with the left. And the idea is that as our hand comes over it, so on this angle, you will see that as my hand is coming over it, my thumb is going, so I'm making this ring with my ball, middle finger, and thumb. That sounds really weird. I'm making this ring, and the thumb is going underneath it, the fingers are going over the top, and they're grabbing the object, right? So we're grabbing the object like that, grabbing the object. But when it comes to the French drop, instead of grabbing the object, we let it drop, hence the French drop, don't know why it's French, and we pretend to grab the object. So as we're grabbing it, we just drop, and if I show you from this angle, as we grab it, it drops into our hand. This is if I grab it properly, and this is if I pretend to grab it. So you see the motion is basically the same, it's just in one we are actually grabbing it, and in the other we are dropping it while we're grabbing it. And basically that's the key to learning the mechanics of this. Initially when everyone starts off doing it, they get very confused about oh crap, where do my hands go? Doing weird stuff. And if you do it in a mirror initially, if you haven't learned this before, you'll find it looks really weird. But the trick is to just do it in reality and then fake do it and try and make that motion look as identical as possible. So if I show you in this now, this is me actually grabbing it. It's actually in my hand, and this is me fake grabbing it. And hopefully the real grab doesn't look anything different to the fake grab. That's basically kind of the level we want to get to. Fake and real. Fake and real. One more time. Our thumb goes through this little ring thing that we're making. Whew. Drop, grab, go. And you sort of want to move this hand along. And I find it easy. I find it nice to sort of grab the coin in this sort of position. This is known in the magic community as the finger palm, because you're palming it, but you know, you're not doing that and palming it in your palm, you're sort of finger palming it. As I'm grabbing it, it's going into the finger palm and my wrist is turning and pointing to the hand. And from the front, again, that's what it looks like. So that was the basic mechanics. Let's now talk about the psychology of this trick and how you can make it look a little bit more deceptive. And the main thing with the psychology thing really is that the audience's eye will follow where you're looking. Like, if I'm looking at this and then I'm really looking at my hand, like I fully believe it's in my hand, but then it's not. You know, the fact that I'm looking at my hand with intent means that the audience, you guys, should hopefully believe that it's actually in that hand. So again, this doesn't look as good if I'm not looking at it. So if I do this, it probably doesn't look as legit. And especially if I look at that hand, then that's not fooling anyone because I'm looking at that hand. Or if I'm looking elsewhere, then maybe it's not fooling anyone either. But the main thing, looking here, looking there, and it's gone. So that's the psychology component of it, kind of like the audience will believe it is if you internally believe it's going to be there. So I know it's in this hand, I know it's in this hand, the audience thinks it's in this hand, and it's not. So that is sort of the main thing that we want to be working on. Let's do one other variation of it, and that is using something as a magic wand. So this is a Sharpie. Basically, you can use anything as a magic wand. I like to call it my magic stick. Again, sounds weird, sorry. But yeah, this is my magic stick. It's a Sharpie, and we can use that as a magic wand. And basically, the reason magicians use magic wands, I'm breaking loads of secrets of the magic circle, but it's fine. I'm not part of the magic circle. But basically, the reason magicians use magic wands is because it lets them hide what else is in that hand. I'll show you. So if I position this in this sort of way so you can see everything, watch. I'm going to take this and I'm going to 2, 3, and it's gone. So I've got the ball here. Now I'm going to grab the magic wand, 2, 3, and hopefully that thing disappears. So the idea is that it gives my hand something to do, so that when I've got a coin, when I've got a ball in this sort of position in finger palm, or if I'm palming an object like this looks really weird. You know, this is a dead giveaway that, you know, it's the frog sign. Something is going on with your hand. Doing this as well, from the right angles, this sort of hand position looks all right, but from other angles, this doesn't look great. But as soon as you're holding something, it suddenly, you know, it gives your hand a very good reason to be in this like really odd sort of position. So if I'm holding a magic wand and I've got something in my hand, usually people don't think you've got anything else in that hand. It's not something that usually registers consciously. It usually registers somewhat subconsciously, but they don't think you have anything in that hand. So the idea is that I take the thing, put it in my hand, grab the magic wand. So as I'm taking it into my hand, I'm immediately grabbing the wand. 1, 2, 3, and it's gone. And obviously that looks bad from overhead because you can see, you know, the up angle, but from this side. So here I have a magic ball. And here I have my magic stick, 1, 2, 3, and it's disappeared. The other nice thing about having the magic wand is that, you know, when magicians use magic wands motivate the motion. So if I've got a coin in this hand, if I could really do magic, I would just probably wrap my hand around it and it would disappear. But I need to actually get it into my other hand for it to work. But just putting a coin into that hand, it feels a bit unmotivated. Like, why are you doing that? You know, when you're creating a magic routine, you want all of the moves to have a reason behind them. So if the wand is on this side of the table, and I've got the ball in this hand, again, overhead, at this point, it makes sense. Like, in order to grab the wand, I could reach across and use it, but it would just make more sense to, you know, move this over, grab it, and yeah, that's sort of the idea. So I've got it in this hand. I want to grab the wand with the same hand, so I can fake move the thing into that hand, and hopefully that looks all right. So there's a few different ways of doing this, but basically the idea is the same. We are always faking the drop into the other hand, but then we're grabbing the magic wand because it motivates the action. That's the French drop Vanish. And there's loads of other YouTube tutorials on it, so if you're serious about learning it, you can look at them, and there's also like slow-mo angles and all that sort of stuff. I will just show you with the kind of front, with the overhead camera, how you can do this with a coin as well. So it's usually easier to find a coin than it is to find a magic ball lying around. But with a coin, you can do the French drop as well. You can sort of hold it like this and grab it. As your hand's coming over the top, you're dropping it, and then you're grabbing it, but you're obviously looking at it so that it looks as if you've got something in your hand. I don't really do this with the other hand, but it's good practice, I guess. Works with a coin. And you can do something like blow, which is just like, you know, a magic move. Again, kind of misdirects the audience from the fact that you clearly have something in your in the other hand. But then when you kind of get more advanced with this, like, it doesn't really make sense to do that to grab a coin, because, you know, who grabs coins like this? Like, it's just kind of weird. Instead, normally if you're giving a coin to someone, you would if you're giving a coin to your other hand, you would either kind of toss it in, and then you can sort of real toss it in, or you can sort of fake toss it in, and that kind of looks all right, or you would just put it in the hand, or you would just fake put it in the hand. So that would be the fake. And so this is the one that I do these days. I don't know if you can see from this angle. Take the coin, grab the coin, and it disappears. Not sure how that looked. Let's look from above. Grab the coin. And sort of the idea is that as I'm putting it in, my fingers are closing around it, but I'm holding onto it in this hand, and then I'm trying to do something with this hand, maybe grabbing a magic wand. So hopefully that looks reasonable. And then we can be like, whew, and the coin can come back. But, you know, there's all sorts of things you can do with that. But the main principle is basically this: pretending to move an object from one hand to the other. Learn the mechanical part, where you kind of do the French drop, and then learn the psychology, where you're really looking at it and really believing that it's gone, and then it's gone. So that was how to do the French drop. Probably a bit long-winded, but hopefully, you know, you can learn something from this. Keeps us entertained in these troubling times. Stay safe, have fun, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.